Hello and welcome to the Reference Point Podcast. I am your host, Paolo, and today I am joined by my two thunderous co-hosts, Anthony and Matthew.
Hey, what's up, guys?
You usually say Matthew and then Anthony. I don't know how I feel about that, Paolo.
Sometimes you got to switch it up on the audience, you know? They can't see it coming.
I'm just going to say someone got demoted.
Ouch.
It's okay. There's some stuff going on behind the scenes between Paolo and myself.
Don't
you'll
be
see in September. It's okay.
I was like, don't be surprised if somebody gets written off.
It's okay.
Or recast.
Don't worry about it. There's no drama. What drama? It's fine.
So today we're going to be talking about Thor 4, more Thor, Love and Thunder.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So we're going to change things up with the format of this episode. Instead, we're going to go right into spoilers. So this is a spoiler review. So if you haven't seen the movie,
Spoilers.
Stop the video now because we're going to be spoiling it. So the movie kind of sucked.
Yeah, this movie was not good. It was not good.
Bottom tier MCU. I was not expecting this.
Guys,
this movie kind of makes Ragnarok look like the Godfather Part 2 for me.
They made a Thor movie worse than The Dark World. I can't even be mad. I'm more impressed that they actually made a movie worse than like the worst MCU movie.
Worst MCU. I mean, it's usually a lot of people usually do rank it very, very low for The Dark World.
It's like that or Ultron or Iron Man 3.
I thought about this, guys.
I swear to God.
Not Ultron.
Dude, I swear to God, Ultron gets so much hate.
People
Now
don't
it's being loved.
I'm sorry, guys. I thought about this, and I legitimately believe it's the worst MCU movie. It's my least favorite, without a doubt. This movie disappointed me on every single level. Just not one thing went right for me in this movie. It's, oh my God, I don't even know where to start. The fact, like, why would, like,
it's going to be a complicated episode, then.
It's just, you should.
Well, we'll start from the beginning.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Like, look, I'm going to just give my thoughts.
With Korg narrating.
I like how it started.
Okay.
Like, genuinely, I enjoyed how it started. I thought Gorr losing his daughter was compelling. It was emotional. Him seeing the god basically just laugh in his face, and then him killing the god. It's like, okay, I was like, okay, I'm ready for this. I'm ready for god butchering.
I'm sorry, but already the god looked like he came right out of the comedy sketch. So it's already like an SNL character, that god, let's be real. And what's even worse is that Gorr doesn't get this idea by himself. The necro sword, is that what they called it in the
Yeah, I think
the
so.
necrophilia sword, that's right.
Yeah, whatever. The necro sword, who everyone knows in the comics is held by Null, not in the MCU, because the rights are up in the air, damn you, Sony. But
like Gargantos.
yeah, like Gargantos.
Yeah, it's Shima-Gorath.
Yeah.
They
canonized canon.
Yeah, they canonized Conan, damn it.
Okay, my point being, the sword tells him, kill all the gods, kill all the gods. He couldn't come to that conclusion himself. You really have to have the sword tell him, like...
You sounded creepier than the sword. Just
honestly,
thank you.
The thing is, it's... This movie has this weird fascination of making the weapons living.
Yeah, it's like, look, it was funny for the first joke, like when he calls the hammer and then the axe slowly shows up and it's like, okay, that's kind of funny.
And it works too because it's like, it's obviously not going to get in there violently. It's in a crowd of people, so like it's coming in. But then afterwards, where it's like it gets personified as this like jealous partner, and it's really just.
I actually like
weird.
personifying the hammer.
No.
I like personifying Mjolnir and Stormbreaker. I thought that was really fun.
Honest to God, I just didn't like when Stormbreaker, it's like, oh, I'm going to use the Bifrost, and he falls down, and he's like, ouch, why are you mad at me, axe? Like, it's dumb, guys.
Yeah, it's like...
I'm sorry, it's dumb.
They literally could have just said that the axe wasn't strong enough to do it, and that's why they needed a conduit. But instead, it was like, oh no, it's jealous, so it's not performing well.
It's, yeah. Matthew knows a lot about underperformance, you know, so...
Yeah. No, that was one of the recurring jokes that I really, really did like. I kind of got a little bit tired of.
Would you say it's relatable? Underperforming.
Be quiet. It was. You relate to the goats screaming.
God, oh my God, I was so over it after like the second scream.
Stop cursing. We have to censor this out every single time.
Just put the scream with every curse.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I like that. That's funny.
The point is, the
editor,
goats...
make sure to put goat screams.
I'm the editor. They need to know I'm the editor. Let's do it.
The goats were funny at first. By the end of the movie, when they're like going to, what's it called? The Shadow Realm, and they're still yelling in there. I'm like, okay, we get it. They yell. It's funny. And we saw the Taylor Swift video in 2011. Like...
Now I'm lying on the cold, hard ground. Trouble.
Literally,
Give me a break.
Though, it's a 2013 joke. and it's in 2022. The joke is literally as old as the MCU practically.
Yeah, literally. It's
So now let's continue forward. So now we have set up Gorr the God Butcher, and he does a very severe lack of God butchering in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
everything is off screen, which could have been the coolest part of the movie, but they did it
Yeah,
off
like Far
screen.
From Home, you know, when you,
No, not like Far From Home.
MJ, I just want to sit next to MJ on the plane.
I thought you were gonna bring up Doctor Strange.
Well, that too.
We
But-
do it in the review, yeah, exactly.
But Gorr, the problem is they do all the God butchering off screen, and he's in the movie for like what feels like 5 minutes. Every scene that he's in is good. Like I really like what they did with Christian Bale. Christian Bale can never phone in a performance.
When he's torturing the kids.
Yeah, like it's great. It's funny, but it's not a joke, but it's still funny.
It's genuinely a little unsettling.
Yeah.
And it's because of his performance.
Yeah, Christian Bale saved that character. He
Yeah.
And it's just
could have been
he's-
Malekith level bad, you know?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's just
Jesus.
so underutilized that it's like I want it to be better. Like
Yeah.
I want it more.
And the thing is, it's not Christian Bale's first time. They could have literally made Gorr like an American Psycho type character. Like I know it's like a big meme
Yeah.
nowadays.
Why not, you stupid bastard?
Let's see Paul Allen's hammer.
No,
But, like-
you want to see another man's hammer?
But like they could have he could do that performance of this psycho, this person that just kills for the sake of killing.
Sure.
But they just decided, no, let's not do that. Let's focus in on, honestly, they focused in too much on the jokes. And look, Taika Waititi is hilarious. This guy is a phenomenal comedy writer.
Yes.
But he overdid it for this movie.
I love What We Do in the Shadows. One of the funniest movies of all time.
Love
That's a
Ragnarok.
movie I could put it on any day of the week and I'll laugh.
Mhm.
Ragnarok.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but Ragnarok is better than this movie in every way possible. I find, like, in terms of villain, in terms of cinematography, in terms of performances, just like every way. I find it's better. Maybe not performances. I kind of just said that, but like
Look,
every way it's better. Basically, even the CG was better. Like, how
Yeah,
did the CG look worse?
We'll have
in
an
a
episode
2022
about
episode.
VFX. We'll have
Yeah.
an episode about VFX. I'm not gonna. I was watching the movie, and then a lot of things came out about behind the scenes drama involving VFX artists. I'm not gonna
yeah,
shit on the VFX.
I
at
don't
all.
want to comment too much.
No, but I'm just gonna say this quick. I don't blame any of the VFX artists or the VFX studios. I blame the studio itself.
Yeah,
for
Marvel
not
is
delaying the movie or not giving them more time.
Marvel
That-
is pumping out too much content, and they're clearly not able to keep up.
It's not even that they're pumping out too much. It's more that they give the smallest deadlines that they have to rush it. They could pump out as much as they want, but if they take their time with it, it's gonna be fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's the CG back then it's been looking good the entire for the entire MCU practically, and even when they did 3 movies a year, it's
Yeah, but you also have the TV shows now. We have had like 5-6 TV shows
Yeah,
come
basically,
out.
which takes up
but
an
guys,
extreme
you're
amount
acting
of
like
time.
you're acting like at Marvel Studios there's one VFX house. At Marvel Studios,
No, I'm
there's
not.
so
But the
many
VFX
VFX.
Right.
It's more that the deadlines suck. It's
Yeah,
not
but
that they have too much.
Those VFX houses are also doing other movies.
Other MCU properties too simultaneously.
Yeah.
They're also doing Black Adam and whatnot. Don't forget.
Yeah,
there's a
they're
lot of movies use VFX nowadays.
That's why I said they're doing other movies.
Okay.
It's
Look, a lot of people with this movie, they talk about the imbalance of comedy, which I do think there is to an extent. There is an
Yeah.
imbalance of comedy. But for myself, the biggest issue with Taika Waititi's script is that it feels aimless. This
Yeah.
entire movie, like Ragnarok, the beginning, middle, and end of Ragnarok all feel very cohesive. It feels like a very, very compelling story, if you will, with a lot of humor sprinkled throughout.
Yeah.
This movie feels like it takes comedy, places it at the forefront in front of storytelling,
it's like
which I disagree with entirely. That this movie should not be a comedy first. This movie should be a compelling story first, which they had sprinkles of with Jane, and we're going to get to this. But ultimately, I'm watching the movie and it just really feels aimless. It feels like there is no plan. There is no screenplay to this movie. It just feels like a bunch of crap slapped together. Oh, now we're going to go get this. Oh, this didn't work. Now we're going to go get this.
And
we're already at the third act. Oh, it's not the third act. Okay, so let's have some time to breathe here. Let's get some emotional bits in. Okay, now we're in the third act.
I'm sorry to say, Ragnarok was like 50-50. It was like 50% comedy, 50% action,
And it
regular
totally
adventure
worked.
movie. This movie felt more like 80-20. 80% comedy, 20% the rest.
yeah, because the thing is, to me, it felt like Thor was written as if like they came up with a series of jokes or like comedic scenarios, and then they're like, let's write a movie around those.
Yeah, it was like a bunch of skits from The Office that they turned into a Marvel movie.
Yeah, and like what sucks is that even Taika Waititi is a great screenwriter. Just like look at The Hunt for the Wilder People.
Jojo Rabbit, he won the
Jojo
Academy
Rabbit.
Award for Best Screenplay.
He could write well. He could balance comedy and seriousness, but in this, it's like he just kind of like fell off a bit. It's like
Yeah.
This is one of those instances where I don't really know what the behind the scenes issues were. Did they give Taika too much creative freedom to just do whatever he wants, and then this is what we got? Did you hire a filmmaker who gave us a 4-hour cut? This is confirmed. A 4-hour like assembly cut, which basically means that you just put together all the footage that you've shot, and then scrap over half of that to get under a 2-hour runtime to please Bob Chapek.
Yeah.
Bob Chapek. That guy has literally, Iger has stated that hiring him has been the worst decision he's made,
Yeah.
and he made the sequels.
So,
He
But-
directed them, Bob Iger.
but you know, it's like, what exactly is going on? I don't. And then when the director says like, yeah, like 2 hours of footage, like it's not in there because, well, it's not good enough to be in there.
He said it's unusable. I'm like, wow, if
So
that's
you mean to-
unusable, what did you call this movie?
No, but half of your movie that you shot was unusable.
And who's to say it was actually unusable and not just like they didn't want
No,
it?
but it
or
probably
an
was
excuse?
because it gives me the impression that this whole movie they were just dicking around on set. That's kind of the impression that I get.
No, but
You
it,
know?
it felt like they had fun making it, and they kind of forgot to make a movie. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. So let's continue with the movie itself. Like ranting a little bit too much, but that's okay because we kind of have to like let our thoughts out because this movie was severely disappointing. So let's go with Jane now. Jane in the movie becomes the mighty Thor, which is what happens in the comic books. Like in the comics,
Read the comic instead. It's much better.
Yeah, honestly, like in the comics, Jane has cancer, and so
Oh wait, what? That wasn't a joke.
I mean the movie.
Our
kinda
theater
played it
laughed
off.
when they said it.
Oh, okay.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. We just treated it like a joke in the movie, so I guess we were supposed to laugh at that. Kind of.
I
No?
swear to God, our theater laughed when they said it. Out of point, I'm like,
Our
what?
theater did laugh at that. That's a fact.
Mine didn't at all. It was dead serious.
I was like, what?
I got one of the bigger laughs. Surprisingly, a lot of the jokes did not hit in this movie.
Throughout my theater, every joke was laughed at, and it
No.
got a standing ovation at the end.
The biggest laugh was the mid-credit scene. Was me and my friend Peter started laughing because Brett Goldstein from Ted Lasso showed up, and we were laughing so hard because we were just talking about Ted Lasso on the metro ride there. So I was like, "Whoa!"
Right.
What a weird coincidence.
So-
Great cameo.
We'll get to Hercules.
So Jane has cancer, and so in order to sort of, like in the comics, I believe, in order to help stop it, she gains the power of Thor.
No, you're completely wrong.
Okay, yeah. So how
The
does
point
it
is,
go?
whenever she does chemo, it gets completely erased whenever she picks up that hammer, and that's basically the movie does the same thing.
Okay.
Every time that hammer is picked up, the chemo from her body is erased. So being Thor is actually killing her.
Okay.
Which is really compelling for me. That's
And-
a fantastic idea.
And
'Cause
guys,
it's-
if you read the comic, it's really well done. Like even the art by Russell Dodderman. Oh, I really hope I pronounced his name right. But he did such a good job. Oh my! It's one of my favorite modern stories, without a doubt. That and even the Gorr story, in which this movie butchered two of my favorite Thor storylines. So-
Taika, the story butcher.
I wouldn't say the Jane storyline is butchered because that to me was the highlight of the movie. Like if I were really to draw something that I enjoyed very, very much, it was that. Because it is sprinkled throughout the movie in ways that really does take its themes and storyline seriously. Like it does take it seriously to an extent, but then the way they interweave comedy throughout that just kind of like diminishes the whole thing, in my opinion.
And I'm sorry to say, I've said this before to you guys, but Deadpool did it better. They had the cancer storyline in Deadpool 1.
Deadpool did the
and
cancer
it was
storyline
better. Like,
They made their jokes when they had to, but they
Right.
kept it serious.
Because having cancer is serious and it's not something to be laughed at.
Yeah.
And it's very, very sad, especially seeing what you actually do with Jane at the end of the movie, killing off Jane. You would think that it was built up throughout the movie in a more compelling way. But it really doesn't. It's in favor of the storyline that is just so scattershot and feels kind of like a quest movie where we gotta... I don't even know, man.
where we have to get the Thunderbolt of Zeus because...
Oh my god.
why? Like, I don't even remember why. Honestly,
Like, to me,
ba-
this is just
basically,
all a waste of time.
it was like a filler episode.
It was because it's more powerful than I think the axe, and it was able to kill Gorr. But in reality,
didn't even
was,
do it.
But in reality, it was used so he could travel there.
It's dumb. I'm sorry, guys.
And-
It's dumb.
Yeah, let's talk about the gods. I liked the fact that they made the gods a bunch of dicks. Because that's what in most mythologies they are. They're a group of dicks.
Even for the gods, like you see the panther goddess, she has no speaking lines. It's clear that they want to make the gods like assholes and whatnot. But I feel like once again, it's a joke. They don't do it seriously enough that like it's not a real threat to me. Like he's talking about orgies. Like he says it like 6 times the same joke.
Now you shut up. You be quiet, because you are this close to being uninvited to the orgy.
You see a dumpling at one point?
Yeah,
The dumpling took me out of it. Like, look, I get that's meant to be a comedy. It's a comic book thing. But look, there were better designs that were comic booky, like the giant eye, the guy who's just a head and feet. That works. But a dumpling with an animated face, that's just like...
the giant eye's a
Why?
great Easter egg.
Like
to
you're
us.
watching a commercial for something.
Yeah, literally. It was just such a strange inclusion, and it kind of took me out.
What I will say, as someone who's half Greek, half Italian, my Greek side was really loving and digging what Russell Crowe did with Zeus.
Oh, yeah, I loved how he had the
It was
Greek
so funny.
accent.
No,
I
but-
actually enjoyed
No,
that.
but you know what's funny about that? That's an Australian bit that they do where they do that exact type of Greek accent. That's just a bit. So it's this over exaggerated take on a Greek god, essentially.
Okay.
I love that.
So cheer, baby cake. Have some wine. Have some grape.
It's
Yeah, it's
funny.
cool.
Like I'm not gonna pretend like it wasn't funny. And
Yeah.
speaking of that scene, when that scene wraps up and it's Korg dies and you're like, whoa, Korg just
You're like,
got,
whoa.
he's falling apart. You're like, whoa. And then Thor, like angry like Infinity War, takes the lightning bolt, throws it through him. I'm like, whoa. And all of a sudden Korg's alive and we're like, oh, that was
Yeah, it
okay.
just undercut
Took 1
the
minute.
moment. It undercut the moment.
Oh, in case you were wondering, yeah, Zeus is alive too.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, well, I mean,
we'll get to that. But
you know what it felt like? It felt like episode 9 with
Yeah.
C-3PO, where C-3PO
Yep.
was all like, "Oh, I'm gonna sacrifice myself, like
Oh,
sacrifice my
like
memory."
yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's back. R2 had a backup.
There's no stakes in this
and,
movie.
and what did Korg do that was so important? He had to be alive for the rest of the movie.
He just had to be funny.
He was funnier in Ragnarok too. I'm sorry to say, like his jokes were better in Ragnarok. It hit better in Ragnarok. He had too big of a role in this
He
movie. I
went from
find.
dead bod to god bod.
It's
Yeah, we
the
also
thing
saw the
with-
trailer.
The thing with Korg is that his death could have been enough for that sort of emotional stake for Thor to be like, okay, things are getting serious. We have to take this guy down because like
And
Shit
maybe
is
the
getting
movie
real.
should start taking itself seriously
Yes.
too, you know, but it doesn't.
And it's a really it's a really cool moment when he throws that lightning bolt through Zeus. Like you could tell he's angry. Like wow, you're seeing
Yeah.
that like
I
the
was-
old Thor once again.
I was in genuine shock.
Yeah.
Here's another thing with Thor. Like, I don't feel like this Thor fits in with the Thor we've
They kind
grown
of,
to love over the years.
they kind of made him a himbo basically.
I look. I don't really agree with that because I find like
Wait, hold on. You've never heard of this term?
Himbo?
It's basically a bimbo for men.
Oh, okay.
you've never heard that.
I've never heard it.
But I get
No.
what you're saying with that. But I find like the character of Thor wasn't exactly the worst part of the movie. He was fine to me. It kind of was a follow up on Ragnarok, maybe a bit less Infinity War and Endgame. But it's still I could believe that it works.
This is,
He felt too stupid at times, but then he has sudden
Not
moments of
stupid.
genius.
sometimes stupid, no, but because I don't remember if it was Dan Murrell or Jeremy John. It was one of the other YouTube movie reviewers. They made a really, really great point. This is the same Thor who, back in an old film, would stand clear of everyone else and then call the Bifrost.
Yeah.
To know that there would be no collateral around him. No, now he just likes calling the Bifrost in the middle of a room so he could put a hole in a freaking ceiling.
But it's
Like,
funny.
No, it's like I don't believe anything that he's doing in this movie because I feel like there's no genuine stakes. I feel like everything is a joke. And again, the story is just scattershot. Let's look at another character like Valkyrie.
She got sidelined so hard.
Dude, what
I
the
almost
hell
forgot
did,
she was in the movie.
What did Valkyrie do in this movie? And I love Tessa Thompson as the character. She was fantastic in Ragnarok. She's still fantastic in this movie.
Yeah.
Just because she's such a likable presence. But it feels like everyone's just doing a bit. They do nothing with that character.
And on top of this, the movie was, I guess, originally made where it's about the whole Love and Thunder thing was Valkyrie finding her queen. And all of a sudden, it's like they just kind of sidelined it. and I was like, okay, that would have been a fun, like,
Thing.
little thing.
At least she would have
they-
had something.
But they provided an idea with the fact that she's so bored being king and that it's clearly not for her.
Yeah.
And what did they do with it? Nothing.
Nothing.
She gets sidelined. At first, I thought they got the lightning bolt to power up so she could fight in the final battle.
That'd be amazing.
Only for her to get injured and say, you guys go without me. I'm good at home.
Ciao.
And they
It's like-
and they kind of played off as a joke.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course they played off as
And
a
actually,
joke.
speaking of playing off
Have you caught on?
injuries, and speaking of injuries that are being caught played off as a joke,
Sure.
Sif,
Oh my God, Sif.
she had her arm cut off and she was basically dying. And they're like, "Your arm's in Valhalla, not you, because you're not gonna die in battle."
Well, I'm not going to pretend like I didn't laugh at that joke because it kind of was funny. But still, I get what you mean. It was like, it's unserious.
I mean, look. I think Anthony does agree with me too. Paolo
Don't
probably
speak for
did.
me.
While I'm watching Thor: Love and Thunder, I'm having a good time. Like, I'm not miserable or anything. Like,
It's not like when I watch episode 9 and I'm just like, how do I turn off my TV? Where's the remote?
You know,
Like, I could finish this movie, but
definitely.
it just...
yeah.
I wanna make it clear for our viewers. You could watch Thor: Love and Thunder and just have a good time. That's how we felt in the theater. But by the time the movie ended, we ultimately just felt that everything was just so underwhelming to the point where, it kind of felt like a waste of time.
It felt like a filler
The more-
episode of an MCU show.
The
did-
more you thought
Anyway.
about the movie and the events that took place, the more it's like it falls apart. Because it was fun in the theater, but then afterwards, when you start thinking, like, of just the points we've brought up so far, it's just like,
Another thing
Oh.
too, like they explicitly say like, oh, you need to die in battle to go to Valhalla, right?
Poor Odin.
Poor Odin, poor Jane too. Except no, she is in Valhalla later.
that was just blatant fan
It was
service.
just blatant fan service. Maybe you want to call her battle with cancer her battle. I don't know, like
Hey, that's what I said.
Maybe, but you could tell shoddy storytelling. There's no consistency here.
Like, look, I'm not one to be like, okay, it has to be something that sets up the future. Like, I don't want to force them into that, but like, that was an absolute waste of a scene.
So you're telling me you didn't want to see Skippy McDippy in the after credit scene?
No, that's fine. That worked. I was really hyped for the Hercules reveal. I was like, okay, that's kind of literally.
Hercules.
But like, then this one, it just plays and it's like, it adds nothing. Or it's like, it's at least not fun to watch. It's just fan service so we could see Heimdall.
Idris Elba looked like he just woke up.
Heimdall has a son.
That I don't mind too much.
I mean,
It's
like,
an
it's fun,
off-screen
it's sweet.
son.
an
It's
off-screen
fine.
son, more off-screen development for a character.
Maybe if you watch Far From Home, you would know.
You know what? With the Valhalla scene, it just felt like an absolute waste of time because it confirmed something we already, could have figured from the movie itself, that Jane basically went to Valhalla
And-
because they really hammered home.
Ah,
I didn't even mean it like that. But
don't you mean Stormbreaker home?
Boo.
Stormbreaker coming in
how
the
about
background.
you eat my hammer? But they really hammered home this point of going to Valhalla, even though it's not really mentioned throughout any of the other movies. But whatever.
The thing is, I feel like these Marvel after credit scenes are like, now it's like a quota. It's like we kind of have to do them, so
But here's
do
the-
whatever you want at this point.
But here's the thing: Doctor Strange 2, that after credits scene with Bruce Campbell, where he finally stops punching himself and he says, "It's over," is genuinely hilarious. And like, obviously, it doesn't advance the story, but it's a fun little gag that pays off something that we were told happens in the movie. It's 3 hours. I mean, he says it's for 3 weeks, and we got to see that resolution of the 3 weeks. I wish we got something like that with Thor, where it was a payoff to like either a little gag in the movie, maybe with the Guardians because they were barely in it, or something like just fun with Thor and his daughter. Like, a fun idea I had was that with the Guardians, they actually found a pile of goat in the ship, because the joke would be like, for weeks it's been stinking up the like the whole thing stinks, the ship, and they're like, okay, what's going on? Why is it like reek? And then they just find a pile of goat and at least there it would be funny because it ties into the goats really just being an absolute annoyance to the Guardians. But instead it's like, no, we just wasted time. We saw Heimdall even though he was supposed to be dead for whatever. Not a fan of what they did, and I kind of wish they did something else.
I mean, sure, it's a better after credit scene. I'm not gonna say your idea is good, but it's just, I feel like after a point you just stop with these after credit scenes because they're just doing it because they know the fans want to see them, and that's all the fans want. And it's like they just they mean nothing sometimes now. They're meaningless.
You know what? They should at least try to experiment, do something funny or something that's just, you know what? People say that MCU movies are just jokes upon jokes. Instead of setting up the story, if you can't set it up, put a joke in there. I'm sorry, just do something instead of just wasting time.
What a surprise that it wasn't a joke.
Yeah.
The whole movie's a joke, and then the after credit scene, which is always a joke, wasn't.
Yeah.
There's something poetic about it.
Now, let's talk about the God Butcher's realm, the Shadow Realm, I believe he's in.
The Shadow
That
Realm.
was visually spectacular for me.
That was pretty awesome.
Oh my God! Look, we're talking about something positive about Thor: Love and Thunder.
Look, the CG hit in that scene. It looked good.
Yeah.
It was a
Looked
cool
very good.
scene. I like seeing the small use of color and whatnot. It's an awesome scene in an otherwise mid movie. So
They really played up with the black and white and really made sure it works with the monsters, with the shadows. Visually amazing. And if I were to say one positive thing, seeing that in a theater was genuinely spectacular. Do you guys have anything else you'd like to add for the Shadow Realm?
it's cool. That's about it.
No, to me it felt actually the most like Ragnarok Waititi.
Mm-hmm.
To me he felt like really, really inspired in that sequence to do something cool with it.
Something different.
Because even the visuals in this movie, for a vast majority of it, to me, just feels like basic blocking, basic coverage, nothing cool. There's a couple
flat.
like he did a couple of the the profile shots of
The silhouettes.
like a silhouette shot of like Thor doing cool things and breaking things and whatever. Like okay, but that to me is just like he's like ripping off his own work in Ragnarok because he did that a lot in Ragnarok.
No, but it's like, a few good shots are going to make everybody forget the rest of the garbage cinematography.
But the movie, the movie just to me feels very, very dull. The cinematography was not on point, in my honest opinion. Some people call this movie visually spectacular. If you want to talk about the Shadow Realm sequence, then yes, I think that's fantastic.
There's a couple standouts that make you forget about all the rest of the ugliness of the movie.
And
that
there
makes
are-
people say that.
And there are some moments that feel like really cool comic book imagery. Like, we got the obviously the blatant copy of the was it the Jason Aaron work with the giant monster?
It looked cooler in the trailer because they added a weird like blood gold filter on it, and it just looked better in the trailer. Funny enough,
I didn't even notice.
I mean, yeah,
I
same,
trust
to
me,
be
I
honest. But it looked great. And honestly, even the Shadow Realm itself, it felt like something that would be in a comic book where it's like you're reading, it's all color, then suddenly it goes black and white for some really cool experimental stuff.
when they run out of a color budget,
Basically.
Something actually I want to mention. This is one of the few MCU movies that I've actually seen once in theaters. I usually go twice. I hear some people have said that they felt the exact same way as we did on the first viewing, and then they saw it a second time, and they go, actually, it flows a lot better for me. The jokes don't feel as jokey. You could kind of notice the more seriousness that they're trying to go for in the story.
Honest to God, I didn't want to see it again.
That's the problem.
I really didn't want to.
I didn't feel like rushing out to see this a second
Like
time.
I did Doctor Strange or
Matthew.
even everything else.
Yeah.
You say that, but when I said the same thing about Jurassic World Dominion, you punched me in the stomach and said, "Shut up, loser."
Don't forget when he spat on you.
It's true.
None of
Sit down. We gotta finish the episode.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I want to go home.
Getting exposed on
Okay.
the TL.
I'm back.
He's back.
He's back.
He's back. He's back.
Stop talking, man. My chair is being all squeaky and whatnot. All right, I'm back.
But
I'm sure the audio only listeners are gonna love that bit.
yeah, sorry about
Were you hear my
that.
chair? Okay, yeah, anyway, so where were we?
You spat on him.
Yeah. No, but yeah, it's true. Like people really did feel that way. So I guess I'm looking forward to seeing it again, but I think I'm only really gonna end up watching it
On Disney Plus.
on Disney Plus when that comes out.
Me too.
I don't see myself going back to the theater and paying for it, to be honest.
It feels like one of those movies that it's like you have to watch it for, let's say, a like a marathon. It's not one that's like you could go back to and be like, you know what, I feel like watching Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's like Thor: The Dark World again. They made a worse Thor movie.
Because
guys.
Ragnarok, I genuinely go back and watch Ragnarok just for fun. Like
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just hard for me to grasp the idea that this was the same team who put this movie together. Like you know what I mean? Like
It felt like they really phoned it in this time. There's
Yeah.
nothing else to say.
It felt like they were crazy rushed, but were they?
It's like they had a budget of $7 in a dream.
$7?
This
$7
movie had a crazy budget though. Like
Yeah.
they got other actors too in the film.
Lena
like
Headey.
Lena Headey, Peter Dinklage was in the movie again.
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum they got back. These people cost money. Like Lena Headey, now there was like a lawsuit with her.
Yeah, something like that.
A couple $1 million lawsuit, whatever. Like she costs money as an actress, and then to not include them just for the hell of it. Like again, it's clear to me that you didn't have a plan. You know?
But it just feels to me that it's like that the MCU is putting more money into the actors than it is like the actual movie sometimes. Like even with the way this movie looked, it's like I felt like they put most of the budget in the actors. Like, okay, now we can phone in the rest. You know?
Because people are always gonna go see it.
Yeah.
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 Anyway,
so let's continue. Let's continue on. So now after
the mud.
yeah,
let's push through this movie.
Smooth.
after the Shadow Realm, Valkyrie gets sidelined because she gets injured. Jane her condition gets worse, and we get this genuinely emotional scene where Jane wants to help. She wants to save people. She wants to help Thor. Thor can't allow it because he's still in love with her, and he wants her to stay alive because becoming Thor kills her.
Wow, it's like watching the movie all over again. I forgot about half this stuff. I feel like it's
but
such a forgettable movie.
That scene to me is one of the best scenes in the movie. I also really did like the scene where they're having their heart to heart, not catching up, but when they're on the goat boat, and
by the Lego set right now.
and he basically pours out his heart to her. I thought that was a really, really beautiful scene too. I love that scene.
And he gets a little bit undercut with the shittily when he says, "I feel shittily."
Yeah.
It's like you could have
But
worded
that
it
would
better.
be good humor if the movie wasn't covered with stuff like that, and it was just in that moment. I feel like that would have felt earned, because that was a joke that paid off from the Guardians bit with Star-Lord.
That's
So
fair.
I like that.
That's fair.
But no, the scene when Thor doesn't want her to do anything and wants her to rest. I really wish that was the storyline that was put front and center, not this nonsensical quest scattershot storyline. Scenes like that really, really show the profound impact that it's having on Thor, on Jane, and on the plot.
That absolute he's being torn on the inside.
Yeah.
Because the woman he loves is she's doing basically the most noble thing you could possibly do as a hero, and just
right.
She's sacrificing her life in order to save others. And it's of course, to a degree, it's Thor wants this because it's he wants to save people. But then it's what about Jane? Who's going to save Jane? He can't save her. Only she can save save herself.
She can save Jane. Jane
Yeah.
can save Jane. But look, it's all these scenes to me, it's in the end, they don't hit as hard as they should. Because this movie's just a joke.
Well, it's because it lasts for a whole 2 seconds, and then we're immediately
We're back
off
to
into
Korg's face. Look, he's just a face now. It's funny.
Yeah, but it's
It's
we're
funny.
right back into the third act.
And
I
then-
feel like the movie has no structure either.
I don't want to comment on that stuff because I don't know technical stuff, so I'm just gonna be
Cinema genius.
No, but do you agree with
No,
me?
but
There's no structure to the movie.
This movie has no. It's kind of like Jurassic World Dominion in that it has no
Hey,
sight.
choose your words properly, or else you're getting written off the show too.
Not again.
You want to spit on Paolo like I do?
No, but it's kind of missing a second act that just Olympia is such a underwhelming, stupid second act that this movie is okay. It's not well done, guys. It's so
and it leads
gets
to
on my
nothing.
nerves.
Honestly, it leads to nothing other than now Thor has another thing to travel to the Shadow
He has
Realm.
another weapon.
No. It's that whole Olympia thing was setting up a fifth movie where Hercules has to track down Thor and basically fight Thor because Zeus is alive. Basically,
It's setting up a more interesting movie.
We'll get to that in the mid-credit scene there or whatever. But yeah.
And so now the ending. Let's talk Gorr. Mini Thors.
I'm sorry to say, when he gave the kids the power of SHAZAM or whatnot, it was terrible. I'm when did Thor get this power? What is is this the lightning bolt that gave him this power? I think that's what it was.
I
No,
thought it
to
was
me-
nice, but it just
It was so stupid.
probably the
man.
best use of Guns N' Roses track too. But
They put the whole Guns N' Roses
no, but even
album into
even the
movie.
music, it was just man, can you get more uninspired than that? Just the freaking Guns N' Roses
They took-
greatest hits.
It's at
Tape,
least
come on.
Guardians and even a movie like Captain Marvel. At least they put different artists.
And also, but
you
even
know?
like with Guardians, like they put tracks that actually pertain heavily to the plot itself, or what, like how a character's feeling, or by just putting Guns N' Roses for the sake of it, like, oh, this is a good song, this is a good song, this is a good song, and just interjecting it into random parts in the movie, like that's not compelling to me.
And you know what's funny? Taika Waititi actually went out to complain about how people are so into Kate Bush because of Stranger Things. He's like, I know Kate Bush because because of her music.
Right.
And
Well, me
it's
too.
like, then it's like, but you
So
know,
true,
all
yeah.
these other people only know it because of Stranger Things, and it's like,
He was obviously joking. Give me a break.
Are you
People
sure?
People are such complainers online. He clearly said it as a joke.
because I was gonna say,
No, it's
because
fine. I said the exact same thing that he did.
He did. Matthew said it, but he wasn't joking.
Oh,
That's
now
the worst
everybody's
part.
showing respect to Kate Bush because of Stranger Things. No, she's always been a great
He was
artist.
obviously joking when he
I've
said
always
that.
loved
So
that
it's
song.
like
okay, be that the case though, it still comes off as a bit like
snobbish. I know. I
snobbish,
get it.
and also because he only used basically one artist in this movie.
Yeah, it just felt lazy once again. It's even those kids. Why did they got powers and what did it do? What did it pay off in the end? They fought some CGI beasts and that's it.
But you know what's weird? I think that's more of the Odin power, where it's like, you know how he did the same thing with the hammer to give Jane, like for it to protect Jane. And
Also stupid, but whatever.
And also Odin himself
Only
is
he did
able
that to
to
all the
give the
Avengers.
power of Thor to people. I think it's kind of the same thing, but then it just kind of calls into question, why hasn't he done this before? Why didn't he do this in Infinity War and Endgame?
But that's why I'm saying I think it's that lightning bolt because he
It
clearly
has to be
does
the
it with the
lightning. It has to
bolt.
be the lightning bolt. But there's a lot of like leaps in logic, even like the Valhalla thing, like I said before. You know, where you're just kind of like where I need to stop and question things mid movie. It's never really a good thing.
Like I was just watching him, like, and I seeing those like this girl's using her bunny. It's like okay, it's funny, but like
It's
why,
cute.
Like,
It's cute.
why am I watching this?
I didn't mind the kid thing. I thought at least what it did was incorporated these side characters in a fun way. You know, they didn't feel wasted like Valkyrie. At least
Heimdall
they did something.
Heimdallson.
And you know what?
Um,
Honestly,
but,
if
yeah.
I was a kid, that hyped me up. Honestly, it's one of those scenes that's like you could tell it was clearly made for the kids.
Yeah, I'm old and cynical now, so it rubbed me the wrong way. But look, I do like the last scene with Jane and Thor, and he's like, "Oh, I choose love," and I actually thought that worked pretty well.
Yeah,
I thought that was
liked
a
it.
nice scene.
Yep.
Eternity looked awesome. That was like a cool comic reference. It looked exactly like the comic version. I was like, "That's awesome." Then you kind of get Gorr's like, "Oh, I could kind of wish my daughter back, can I?" Huh? It's like, oh, you only realize that now. You had a wish. You can wish for anything. Only your daughter and maybe not your family, like the whole family. You can.
Yeah.
We'll just get the daughter back.
And you know what?
Or you
Look,
could kill everyone. You choose one daughter or everyone dead. You choose. Like, what a weird choice, you know? Like,
I will
what a
say
weird
it,
guy, Gorr.
like, now that we talk about the daughter, I genuinely enjoy the fact that the daughter came back and Thor took on the role of father to take care of her.
I know what Matthew's gonna say, so I'm gonna say it before him. It's incredibly unearned.
I don't
It's
think so.
unearned.
No,
Because
it is.
here, let me explain my point. Throughout
Go for
this
it.
whole movie, and Korg spells it out.
One scene.
Thor's whole thing is that he's trying to find love, the love that's been
And
gone
thunder.
from Jane, right? His whole quest is about finding someone to love, finding a family, that sort of thing. With the Guardians, it wasn't working out. No one really liked him.
Understandable.
And, you know, that was his whole thing. He finally had something with Jane, but ultimately got lost because Jane had to do the right thing, which was important for her. So now Thor was given this chance at love because now he has a daughter and he has someone that
Also
he
named
can
Love.
look after and someone that loves him too for who he is. And it's like something really sweet and emotional. And I don't know why. I don't even have kids. And it just resonated with me. It was like,
Maybe you do.
oh, yeah, okay.
He has kids in another country.
Yeah, okay. More like in another
Dimension.
universe.
A new universe.
A new universe.
Okay.
And it felt sweet. I was like, okay, you know what? I like this. And I like that it kind of sets up that they're this crime fighting duo now. And I'm like, if Thor 5 is going to be them two, like, you know, it up and being like superheroes, I'm like, you know, yeah.
I can't wait to not watch that movie.
You know, like a father-daughter team. I
You
like
see,
that.
But everything you said is like just justifying, but it doesn't justify the fact that it's unearned. All this stuff feels so half-assed.
Like conceptually, this is a great idea.
yeah. but it's also half-assed. It's like by the end of it, I'm watching the scene and she's holding that giant Stormbreaker. It's like, one, why didn't they give her the smaller hammer? Logically speaking, I'm gonna steal my friend's point. He knows who he is. That the hammer did represent love throughout half the movie, and you think he would have given the representation of love
To love.
to love his new daughter. Nobody gave her Stormbreaker.
I feel like it's more of a visual gag. Like, look at her, she's so tiny,
But it's
and now
not-
she has a giant hammer.
But
Again,
it's-
visual gag over substance.
Yeah.
No, but it's not even a visual gag because they don't focus on it. It's like it felt like such a half thought. Like it's like, okay, just put it in. I guess she has the axe.
Also, you know what's funny? I saw this in the theater.
The whole movie?
No,
Not really.
Their
pretty fun.
ship is a mobile house, right? Like a van. You know what it looked like?
What?
It looked like the ship from Spaceballs.
Of course. It looked like a parody movie because that's what this movie felt like, a parody.
I meant it more like, oh, it's a funny visual thing, where
It
it's
is
a
kind of
space
a funny-
motorhome.
It is a funny visual, but I'm just saying in general. It's like, I got my hater mentality on right now. I can't take it off.
Yeah, you guys are like, you're like on John Krasinski mode right now.
Yeah, John Krasinski, you know what you did.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, for those watching the YouTube video version, you might notice like every episode that we put up a poster for the thing we're talking about. There's no Thor Love and Thunder poster here.
Because John Krasinski broke into OAR and he stole it.
He stole the
Yeah,
poster.
he also punched Paolo in the gut.
It's true. That's why I
Even-
was in the hospital for 2 weeks.
Even though I spoke bad about him more.
And you know what? He also stole the footage for Jurassic World Dominion.
Dude, I'm seriously, I'm regretting defending this guy. Because
Yeah?
I don't like him. I don't like John Krasinski. You're a
He-
menace.
He is ruining Reference Point podcast. And you know what? The only way he could fix this is if he comes on the show and he answers for his crimes.
Yeah.
Bring me back my Love and Thunder poster. I need to rip it.
Anyway.
For it is. So the movie ends. And it's over. And I was happy because it was over. And they play a good song in the end credits, and a mid-credit scene comes on. And like I said before, me and my friend Peter, you know who we are, Peter. You're probably watching this. We laughed our heads off because Brett Goldstein, I love the guy. He is so funny in general. And also, I've seen him in interviews. He seems like just a nice, overall great guy. He has a great podcast. If you guys ever listen to, I forgot the name, so now I look foolish. But it's great.
Everybody's got a podcast.
Yeah, everyone. They give it to anyone nowadays.
Yeah, they just give it to anybody.
Yeah.
But he like honestly, just like I'm happy to see him join the MCU. Even as Hercules, I love that costume they gave him. It looks great.
I loved the inclusion. I was that when I saw that, I was like, that was basically my Skippy McDippy Glup shit.
Yeah.
I was like hyped. I was like, yo, they're doing Hercules now.
It's it's just to see Zeus alive. I was a bit like, oh,
Yeah.
of course they undo another death, but whatever.
That took me that kind of bugged me a bit afterwards. I was thinking about. I was like, how much more interesting if they saw
Hercules without Zeus.
yeah, Hercules sees his father dead, and then it's like, who did this? And then like someone
Thor,
says
Odinson.
Thor, and it's like, or it's like a like a god that's like a villain, like Hades or something.
Null.
Yeah, that seems like way more interesting to me. Like if he had actually successfully killed Zeus, that would give him all the more reason to just be angry. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
because
Like,
now it's like, oh, he hurt my father. Now I have to fight him.
Yeah,
yeah, so,
it's
I don't know.
I don't know.
It was cool anyway. And
Yeah,
then
it was a cool fight.
end
cool
credit scene, just a
We
waste
said
of
it.
time.
It
Yeah.
was cheeks. It was bad. And are we done about this movie? Because I think I'm done.
Final
This
thoughts?
this episode started and finished like the movie, just completely rushed.
Look, again, if you like, I know a lot of people who loved Thor: Love and Thunder, or at least really enjoyed it. And again, to these people, fantastic. I always love hearing people enjoy things. I
Yeah.
don't like being negative. This is, I think, the most negative episode we've had on the show so
Yeah.
far. And
So
I
far.
don't think.
Well, I don't know. The Dominion is that getting released?
No, I had more positive things to say about the.
I was like, I'm gonna cut all of Gravis's negativity, so it's a pure positive episode.
Well, funny enough, I'm gonna sound so foolish and dumb right now, but I say I don't like this movie, but I kind of still liked it more than Dominion.
Okay, you know what? That's it.
No.
Gravis, wrap up the episode.
But he says the thing.
I don't give a. Wrap it up.
So if you kind of like this stuff, I guess subscribe and
More
follow us.
confidence, damn it!
And
Show us that they have
follow
to
us
do
on
it.
social media, The OARTV YouTube channel and at Reference Point Podcast for the social media stuff. And Thor: Love and Thunder. Don't forget to support your local comic book stores. See ya.
See you next time.